Liberal Dan Radio presents
Fat Man Rants.
The qualities of a lemming is someone who is lacking in individual thought and who is willing to follow others off of a cliff. Real lemmings may not actually jump off the cliff, but COVID lemmings are dragging us all off the cliff. And each of these lemmings always gives the same unoriginal arguments. You must be afraid. No, lemming, I'm listening to the experts who tell me that it is more safe to wear a mask and be socially distanced. Just like I wear a seatbelt and I don't drive drunk. Just like I wash my hands after I use the bathroom. None of these other actions are based in fear, and my following virologists and epidemiologists on advice during a pandemic is also not based in fear. I don't care if your podiatrist says otherwise. If masks worked, just wear one and you'll be fine. No, lemming. You can tell who needed to cheat to pass high school science when you hear this line. It's 9 months into this pandemic. I could understand somebody in March or April not understanding what wearing a cloth mask does. To not know now is simply willful ignorance. While there may be some new evidence to show that wearing a mask might add some protection to the wearer, wearing a mask has always been recommended because it helps protect other people from the wearer if the wearer happens to be infected. Willful ignorance during a pandemic is inexcusable and is causing needless deaths. The survival rate is 99.8%. No, lemming, that's using death over population. That's not how you determine how deadly a virus is. Deaths over cases is how you determine how deadly a virus is. And even if you want to use the incorrect 1% case fatality rate number that many lemmings use, it's somewhere between 2 and 3%. If we can restrict the overall number of cases, we can lower the overall deaths. If masks and social distancing worked, why do we need to lock down? No, lemming. We need lockdowns because y'all won't mask up or socially distance. You reject the science that could have protected us, but y'all are too selfish to follow that advice. You refuse to care about your fellow human beings and instead make selfish arguments trying to justify irresponsible behavior. Smoking is dangerous, but we have not clamped down on that. I can't believe I've heard this one several times already, but no, lemming, we have clamped down on smoking. We have barred it in many restaurants when we used to segregate sections to smoking and non-smoking. Many municipalities have banned smoking in bars altogether. We used to allow people to smoke in freaking airplanes. So the idea that we have not clamped down on smoking is just ridiculous and wrong. If we kept the places we could go maskless in public to the places where we can smoke, we'd have this much better under control. I should be free to not wear a mask. No, lemming, and this is the dumbest argument of them all. You should have the right to do any action that you wish to do as long as it doesn't cause a risk to others to be harmed. You are free to drive your car where you wish, but you must follow traffic signals and you can't drive drunk. Why? Because disobeying traffic laws and driving drunk threatens harm to others. So that's why you don't have the right to do those things. You have the right to own a gun. We may disagree on the regulations on gun sales, but the Supreme Court has upheld the constitutional principle that you can own a gun. But if you do own a gun, you can't just fire that gun randomly in the air. Why? Because it causes a threat of harm to other people. So while you generally have the right to go places without a mask, all other things being equal, you shouldn't have the right to do so in the middle of a pandemic. Just stay home if you don't want to get sick. No, lemming, that's not reasonable. And using the last example, I could say that if you don't want to get killed by a drunk driver, don't go out. Or if you don't want to get hit by a falling bullet shot by somebody irresponsibly shooting their gun in the air, don't go out. But that's putting the responsibility on the wrong party. You have the responsibility to not put people in harm's way by not driving drunk. You have the responsibility to not put people in harm's way by not firing your gun randomly in the air. And you have the responsibility during a pandemic to not allow yourself to become a vector of transmission for the virus. So mask up, be socially distanced, and stop being a lemming.